get into the hysteria, what's going on here in America. There's no doubt, if you look around at the news, what's going on, America is totally brainwashed by the mainstream media. It hasn't gotten better over the years. It seems to be getting worse. And everyone's in a panic mode over this new coronavirus that's originated out of China, they say. And they have been peddling this fear. The AMA, the big pharma, the vaccine manufacturers, and all the so-called experts on health and hygiene, they've been coming on the news channels telling us to wash our hands. Okay, well, I want to get into that for a second. But first I want to just say that, it seems that they are just trying to scare everybody, because in the end, what's coming is the proliferation of a new vaccine. That's the way this works. It's kind of a setup to get us all worked into a frenzy and scaring us as if this is going to take over the world and kill us all. And simple-minded people that watch the news and believe it. It's okay to watch the news, but don't believe it. Don't believe everything you see on the news. In fact, I believe very little I see on the news anymore. And I rarely watch the news because it mostly is misinformation and mostly depressing. And it doesn't have to affect me at all. So just basically it's your personal choice. You want to watch it and get all worked up over something that's probably not true or not. So anyway, I have been following this a little bit because I'm just astounded that history is being allowed to be repeated again and again and again. And the interesting thing that I find is that people aren't asking themselves questions, or are they? I don't know. It doesn't seem that you see any debate on television whatsoever. It's all one-sided, just coming from the vaccine manufacturers and all their foot soldiers. That's where it seems to be very one-sided. Nobody's asking the question, well, what about the regular flu that kills 30,000 people a year? And the figures all over the place on that one, but year over year, and I do follow it, I read different figures on it, but it's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, 30,000, whatever, flu deaths per year here in just America, 30,000. Okay, well, why are we, haven't we been calling that a pandemic or an epidemic here in America and putting in all these precautions? And they seem to want you to forget that the flu vaccine that they keep peddling every year doesn't seem to work out very well. And year over year, that's a failure. I call it a failure because it doesn't prevent the flu. It doesn't lower the cases of flu deaths in America. So why is that? Why aren't we questioning that? And suddenly with a new flu type virus that is in China and now moving slowly into different countries. Why are we making such an enormous deal over that? Because do we think that a new vaccine is what we need? Really? We got to pump in billions of dollars. And guess who's getting the billions of dollars? The vaccine manufacturers and big pharma. That's being allocated to them and subsidizing them, and also for the distribution of the test kits that are supposed to be going to the hospital so they can early detect this virus. Well, okay, it's hard to argue against sending out the test kits, but really in the end, if you get the virus, then what you should be doing anyway is just staying home and going through the process of getting over it. And now if you're really old and infirmed and have pre-existing conditions that makes it more dangerous to you, then you should go to the hospital and get treatment and stay in the hospital and be quarantined in the hospital. That's what they would do. But for the average person that gets the regular flu that's relatively healthy, then you just you stay home from work. You should stay home from work, and people don't. A lot of people go to work sick, which is a big mistake. But people are afraid to call in sick sometimes because of retaliation or some other form of punishment from their employers. That's a problem here in America. People should feel free to call in sick and stay home and quarantine themselves till they get over this, whatever the illness is, whether it's measles, chickenpox, the flu, the common cold, whatever. And another thing that really astounds me is the doctors that come on TV, and this one I saw the other day, first of all, did not look that healthy. So let's just get that out of the way. Doctors are not the healthiest people in the world to begin with, number one. Number two, they're telling us the best way to prevent getting sick is to wash your hands. Well, that is a very good start, but they don't show you the proper way to wash your hands. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm in my 60s, and when I was 10 years old, my dad, or younger, my dad taught us how to wash our hands. Well, let's just go through it, okay? You know, on TV they say just wash your hands for 20 seconds with warm soapy water. Wrong. Wash your hands for 20 seconds is okay. Use warm antibacterial soap, which is what we do. And also, when you wash your hands, okay, it's not just that you wash your hands, you also should wash your forearms down to about this far. This is the way I was taught as a child from my parents. So why is it that nobody is teaching that anymore, and especially the doctors? Okay, now I want to read you something out of my favorite book, Dissolving Illusions. It's Disease, Vaccines, and the Forgotten History. Now, why don't we know the history of vaccines? We should all study it and know the truth of what's going on with the vaccines. So this is something, puerperal fever was caused by doctors back in, as far dating back to, I will read it for you, 1746. This epidemic of women and babies dying is documented from as early as 1746. That's just when it was documented. Do you guys realize that doctors never would wash their hands? And they themselves are responsible for spreading disease and the deaths of millions of babies in the world. 50% of mothers who gave birth in Paris hospitals died because doctors wouldn't wash their hands. This happened also in America. Doctors would go down to the morgue and do their job in the morgue, an autopsy. And then they would get a call that a woman was having a baby upstairs, up in the maternity ward, go up and deliver a baby and not wash their hands because they didn't know about germs. Can you believe that? Is that astounding or what? And also the instruments that they used weren't sterilized. They didn't believe in sterilization. And that's why in ancient history, diseases and plagues were so pervasive, was because people didn't, the public and doctors didn't even know really about germs. They didn't know what caused disease and what spread disease. And most all diseases in history were caused and spread by mankind. And you could say, well, it came from animals. Yeah, it did come from animals, but it's when humans began to domesticate animals and were very close contact with animals. So the diseases were spread that way. And the doctors did, even today, don't wash their hands very well. I've seen doctors, personally seen doctors, go from one patient to another without washing their hands. And also, you know, they wear those white coats. Okay, the white coats are good, but, you know, the white coats really only protect them because all that bacteria on their coats that goes from one patient to the other, to the other, to the other, is transferred when they come to work on you and they're working on you and you're near their coats and their sleeves where they have been maybe seeing 10 patients already that day and who knows what else they've been doing. Do you think those coats are sterilized or clean or sanitized? So sanitation has always been the crucial element to stop disease from spreading. And my feeling is vaccines are not the answer. We should be having systems in place in America. If we really care about health, we should have systems in place. We should have public service announcements on a regular basis, on a daily basis, on television, that actually teaches people proper hygiene and reminds them over and over about proper hygiene. I mean, from everything we do, the way we handle food, the way we handle our own personal hygiene, the way we, about the earlobe mask that you wear. One of the doctors I saw on TV, so-called doctor, I don't know if these guys are real doctors or not. I think they're just representatives from Big Pharma. This doctor was saying Don't wear the ear loop masks for protection. Only wear it if you yourself are sick. Does that make sense? Not to wear an ear loop mask that covers your face and protects you, even if it's not 100% protecting you? Well, they're telling us not to wear those if you're not sick, but if you go into a crowd of people that are sick, that you're better off not to wear them, he says. Because if you wear a mask and the germs are spread onto your mask, and then you touch the mask, and then you touch your face, and then you touch your mouth or your nose, well, that's ridiculous. The whole thing he's saying is ridiculous. But this is coming from so-called doctors that are trying to tell us how to take care of ourselves and stop spreading disease. They're not telling you how to stop spreading disease, because all of this is about proliferation of a new vaccine. That doctor doesn't know what he's talking about. Here it is. Here's the ear loop masks, and they really do work. And we've been promoting these for a long time, since we found how well they work in areas like the Philippines, when you're around a lot of pollution and congested city areas, or on little jeepneys, or on airplanes, or anywhere else. Even if you're not sick, wear these, because they actually do work. And I'm just telling you first aid once again. Most doctors will agree that these are very important, and even though they're not perfect, they will, if they prevent illness just one time, they're worth it, believe me. And since I started wearing these, I haven't gotten sick one time over there. And before I started wearing these, I was getting sick. I was getting that really bad cough and fever, and so was the family. But we all wear these, so please do this. It's good. So there is a lot to learn from history. Please get this book. If you guys are really considering getting this new vaccine, then please educate yourself. And when they give you that vaccine, ask them, can you please give me a list of all the ingredients in the vaccine before you give it to me? I would just like to know. And then can you guarantee me that it's not going to hurt me now or in the future, damage me in some way? Can you just do that for me? Where they give you a list of the aluminum, the formaldehyde, the other parts that are in that. There are many, many things that they put in vaccines. You should Google that. And you should also get this book, Dissolving Illusions, Disease, Vaccines, and the Forgotten History, by Suzanne Humphreys, MD, medical doctor, who went out on her own and went against the system to expose the truth about vaccines and the mythology and the history. So what's going to happen with this new vaccine they come out with? Right now, they already are seeing a decline in this flu in China. Okay, this thing is not going to spread worldwide like they're talking about. It may just be a variation of the regular flu. They're not telling us all the details yet. But it's not going to be spreading worldwide. It's going to start to die out. And then the vaccine will come out, and they'll start administering the vaccine. This is what they always do. They'll administer the vaccine as it's dying out, and then at the end they will claim success that our vaccine cured all of this. Well, this flu, this virus, is going to die out on its own like they always do. They always die out. Okay, and you could go back to the measles also in this country, and you can see that the first vaccine for the measles came out after the measles was eradicated, up to 95% eradicated before the first vaccine came out. And of course now the vaccine manufacturers have taken full credit for it. This happens over and over again. And all this information you can read in this book. And there are charts and graphs that can show you on each subject that we talk about, and even polio. So anyway, that's what I want to throw out there. Don't get hysterical over this new virus. It's just a virus. The most important thing is to keep up on your hygiene. Don't go into crowds. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but it seems like these doctors aren't so smart either. So use your own common sense. Would you want to go into a crowd of people that are sick? So what I'm offering basically is just to think clearly, freely on your own, question everything, use your common sense, learn about personal hygiene, really good hygiene, and stay away from sick people. The best thing you can do. And I strongly recommend wearing these masks. because most people will agree with me. You don't have to be a doctor to agree, but most doctors will even agree that the masks are important. And I'm surprised that this doctor on TV hasn't been scolded for what he said. Because anyway, wear them. Our family found when we were in the Philippines, a lot of pollution, a lot of illnesses, a lot of infections, bacterial, viral, all the rest. We were getting sick time and time again on the trips to the Philippines. And when we started wearing the masks, even though we weren't sick, we didn't get sick. So it really does work. So there you go, guys. So the question is, are we free? Are we, my family, free? Well, living free is our natural state of being, as you see at the ending of every one of our videos. And we really believe that, and we really live it. And here are the examples of how we approach life here and wherever we are, but here in America right now. We don't get caught up in the politics, really don't. Really don't. Don't get caught up in this new coronavirus out of China, not at all, because we are equipped with information and knowledge. We have studied vaccines extensively. We know the truth about the history, how they come and go, and what's going on with all of that. And we understand about Big Pharma. They're a multi-billion-dollar industry that's profit-driven. So they create a lot of fear, and you see a lot of fear in the media. But in our family, we don't worry about that because we know how to handle it. We look at life in a more spiritual sense. There's ways to protect yourselves against getting ill, like a clean diet, eliminating things that antagonize your body, like sodas and junk food. And even sometimes when we do eat a little bit of junk food, we know how to. We do intermittent fasting. We do things that are like natural ways of helping your body stay stronger. We don't buy into the educational system here in America because we don't think it's healthy. And it's not healthy for ourselves. It's not healthy for our children. And even here in Florida, where we signed a 14-month lease on this new place in Palm Harbor, we like it. We enjoy it. It's nice to relax finally and settle into someplace, but we're free here too. Even though we signed a long lease, we can buy out the lease for just a few $1,000s and we're on our way again. So we want to stay free. We want to be happy and to be an American. If you really have to ask yourself, we're indoctrinated to feel that we are the greatest country in the world. And most of us believe that. We do have many of the nicest things. We have easy access at our fingertips, our computers, to get anything we want. We can find good places here, but are our minds free? Are we free to not be drawn into the debates or to the drama or to the hysteria of the month? And right now it happens to be the coronavirus. That too will pass, my friend. That'll be over soon enough. Don't forget, we had the bird flu that came and went. We have the annual flu that still kills 30,000 people a year, thereabouts. The figures are all over the place on that one. If you look on the internet, check with the World Health Organization. Figures all over the place, but no one's getting worked up over that one. And let's not forget about the swine flu epidemic of 1977, when Gerald Ford was president. And that flu epidemic became a fiasco because the vaccinations that they gave out to millions of people caused a lot of vaccine damage. People were crippled, and the federal vaccine court had to make large payouts to the victims. And that actually ended up costing Gerald Ford the election, the fiasco that went on with that epidemic. And before that, in history, you go all the way back. The Spanish flu. You're never going to see the end of these. And maybe it's part of nature. Maybe these flus are here to stay. We just have to learn how to live with them and deal with them and get through them. They come and they die out. So the question of the day is, are you happy? Are we free? Are you free? Really free? Think about it. How free are you really? And what can you do to change that? We think it's a lot of things we do is just turn off the TV, just always think freely, question everything, And you'll realize that everything here, the drama, it's never going to end. It's relentless because we are in a society that thrives and flourishes financially from drama. And that's why in the news media, you won't see public service announcements on a daily, regular basis that actually shows people, instructs them how to, and reminds them how to implement good hygiene for themselves. So the way we approach life is that we are happy, we are free. Happiness goes like this, of course, you know. Some days are happier than others, right? But we are free, and some days you feel freer than others too, so I might as well throw that in there. But we are free from the tyranny of the medical system in this country because we don't buy into it, literally. We are free from the educational system in the public schools and higher education in the university system because we don't buy into that. We don't think it's useful. And we are happy and we are free from the vaccine industry. So if you find you're not happy for some reason, try to get to the bottom of what it is. Maybe it's just you got to turn the TV off and go out and think for yourself, be free, have fun. Just get out there and don't get wound up. Don't get so married to your opinions. Try to enjoy what other people have to offer you and enjoy your friendships and your children, your family. And that's the best part of all. Take care, you guys. I'll see you in the next video.